Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Part 3 Advaitam. How is the world unreal? In Advaitam, it is said that the world is not real but an appearance by Maya. This is not understood by many people. They object to it, they criticize the Maya theory. Their argument is something like this: all these life forms are seeing the world and are being seen by the world in turn. Seeing is the basis for believing. In the world, there are natural laws which are constant, such as the law of cause and effect, by applying which we are able to do things and achieve the results. How can we believe and agree if you say that it is all Maya and a lie or a dream? Acharyal, Sri Shankara Bhagavat Pada Acharyal, who firmly defined and established the Advaita philosophy, is misunderstood to have said that the world is totally unreal and a lie of untruth. This gave rise to condemnation of his ideas on the following lines. What is this? World is a lie, but not untruth. Is that what your Acharya said? This is even more difficult to understand, maybe your reaction. Let us look at the distinction between truth, untruth, and a lie that Acharya has made. For him, the true thing is the one Atma only. That is called Brahman too. The only true thing, when it is the basis of existence for one Jiva, is known as Atma. When it is the basis of existence of all the life forms and all the things of this universe, is known as Brahman. It is the only permanent, unchanging reality of existence, and so is the truth. The world is all the time changing. The only constancy about the world is change. We are changing all the time. If our body is changing slowly, the mind and thoughts are changing in a fraction of a second. So, Acharya will not use the word Satyam or truth to define the world. Will he call it Asatyam or untruth? That would mean totally against or opposed to truth. Acharya never called it Asatyam either. He said that it is not Satyam because of not being constant, while simultaneously not Asatyam because of its temporary existence. He used a word Mithya, which can be translated to temporarily as seeing truth. Our Acharya classified Satyam into three groups. What did not fall within these three groups? He called it Asatyam. The three groups of Satyam are 1. Paramarthika Satyam, 2. Vyavaharika Satyam, 3. Pratibhasika Satyam. The fourth one is Asatyam, not part of the first three. Among these, Paramarthika Satyam is the permanent and real Brahman. Vyavaharika Satyam is what we consider as truth in our worldly transactions or interactions with the world. That includes everybody, every thought, every concept, every event, and everything in the world, universe, micro and macrocosmos. A tin piece lying on the ground looks like a silver coin. A cloud seems like a face. A piece of rope is mistaken for a snake. We see a tiger or elephant in a dream. These are examples of Pratibhasika Satyam. Contrary to the above three, Asatyam is never there but exists only as words. Infertile woman's child, horse horns, for example, can never be there. Yoga Sutram calls them as Vikalpa. Shabda Jnana Bhate Vastus Sunyo Vikalpa. The Asatyam is called Atyanta Asat and Tucham. In the twilight of the evening, A rope made of hay is mistaken for a snake. That it is snake is untruth, asatyam. That it looks like a snake is true. At that moment, there is a mix of truth and untruth. If you go near, that half truth, untruth becomes the real rope and unreal snake. For some time, it looked like a snake. That is Pratibhasika Satyam. Even the real rope is also only a Vyavharika Satyam, as it is made up of cotton or coir twisted into threads and that woven into a rope. Both Vyavaharika Satyam and Pratibhasika Satyam become untruth when the true knowledge dawns and are seemingly true in the absence of real knowledge. In Vedanta, for such an untruth, a special name has been coined as Mithyai. Those things that can never be true are not called Mithyai, but Asatyam. Acharyal points out that even what we call Vyavaharika Satyam will become Pratibhasika Satyam when true knowledge dawns. Basam is light, Pratibhasam is reflected light. A piece of tin received the sun rays or reflected it and reflected it. It looked like a silver coin, but it is not silver. This is Pratibhasikam. Similarly, the world is enlightened by the reflected light of Brahma Chaitanya. Compared to the piece of tin, let us say there was a shell. It did have the sort of sheen as would be seen on a piece of silver. For a minute, we were happy, imagining as to how we would spend the newly acquired wealth. Similarly, when we saw the rope and thought it to be a snake, we did go through fear, panic, shock, and uneasiness. Relatively, an infertile woman's offspring and horns of the horse will not affect us much. We are likely to discard it out of thought as impossible immediately. It cannot dupe us in the garb of something else. Being something is seen as something else due to the power of Maya. Piece of tin with the reflected sunlight looks like a silver coin. In the dim light of the evening, a rope looks like a snake. By the power of Maya, Brahman is seen as the world. We get duped thinking the world to be real and not seeing the Brahman at all. To hide the real and show something else in its place is the power of Maya. What happens when we get Jnanam? There is nothing other than Brahman. The world is not there. We get to know that it is grand show, make-up, fancy dress competition where all the competitors are one and the same Brahman. All the wrong notions just drop off and disappear. When we correctly identified the rope, the snake disappeared. When we picked up the seashell, the silver vanished. When the Jnanam dawns, all the previous misunderstandings just go. The world itself disappears and goes out of one's sight and vision because it is only a Pratibhasika Satyam. But other than this, one person who is seeing not the world but only Brahman, all others still under the influence of Maya continue to look at a world of cause and effect, and it is for their sake that the world has been given a special status as Vyavharika Satyam or transactional reality. KTSV adds, if I can try and imagine as to what must be the Jnani's condition immediately after realization, two things come to my mind. One is that he is likely to have a slightly embarrassed self deprecatory smile on his face with a mixed feeling of, oh, how gullible have I been all these days. So, oh, this is it. Anyhow, he is likely to be lost to this world, maybe forever, unless destined to play a role. Ramana Maharshi was lost in Advaita Anubhava for months in the Patala Lingam enclosure with no awareness of his body. Other than transactional and reflected truths, Vyavharika and Pratibhasika Satyam, there is a Satyatharam, that is, ever true Brahman. So, we have one Satyam, one Asatyam, and two versions of untruths or lie. Satyam is God, Brahman, Ishvara, or whatever the name with which he is known, who are forever and can never be not. Infertile woman's son can never be, and that is Asatyam. In between this Satyam and Asatyam are two lies or untruths known as Vyavharika and Pratibhasika. Having some truth and some untruth appear to be true sometime and appear to be not true some other time. To put it in other words, they are conditioned and modified by time, space, and perspective. What are we? Some time back, our body was not there. Some time later, it is not going to be. As I talk or type, this body is undergoing changes. They say that in 7 years' time, all the cells in the body get replaced. So, just this moment, there is not a single cell in this body that was there 7 years back. So, this body is not Satyam. Because if it is Satyam, it should be forever. Not Asatyam either, because for a short period of time it is there. This is Sukti Rupyam. That is, like when the sun shines on the seashell, Sukti, silver Rupyam appears. The word rupee came from that Rupyam. When silver appeared in the seashell, was it Satyam or Asatyam? When the seashell is shimmering, at least for a minute or so, it seems like silver. Can the son of an infertile woman ever come into being even for a fraction of a second? No. Comparatively, the silver in the shell can be seen to be there at least for a few seconds. The non-existing horns of a horse have not even a trace of reality, except being two words. So, the silver in the shell is neither totally Satyam because it is not silver permanently, nor Asatyam because, at least for a fraction of a second, to some viewers, it looked like silver. When the sun's rays were not there, the silver disappeared, but the shell remained as the basis. For the snake that disappeared, the rope remained as the basis. With shell and rope as the basis, the appearance of silver and snake occurred. Similarly, the basis of the Mithya world is Brahman. When the appearance of the world is no more, it will not be a zero nullity or sanyata of the Buddhists. That basis of all appearance is Brahman, the only Satyam. The Satya Brahman is depicted as the world and universe by Maya. Acharya calls Maya Anivachaniyam, meaning inexplicable. It is neither Sat nor Asat, indefinable and unterrible. You cannot say that it is there, nor can you say that it is not there. It appears to be and disappears when Jnanam happens. Appar Swami in Tiruvarur, Tirutandakam says, Poi Mayaperungadalil, meaning in the false ocean of Maya. It is neither Satyam nor Asatyam. It happens if you say that it is not there. What to do? When you say it is there and try to show it, you just cannot. We cannot say that it is different from Paramatma because there cannot be anything in addition to Paramatma. You cannot say that Paramatma is Maya either. This is because Maya goes when Jnanam arrives. That is one reason. The second reason is that if Paramatman is Maya, then world is real and Paramatman is unreal. It is not the sunyata of Buddhists either. That is why Maya is called the indescribable anirvachaniyam. Let us recapitulate rope if seen snake goes. Rope is adhishtanam and snake is aropyam. When adhishtanam is clear, aropyam vanishes. When you see the screen, cinema will not be seen. The basis on which the appearance is superimposed when seen or becomes apparent. The superimposed scenery disappears. The scenery of cinema is the Pratibhasika Satyam. The screen is the real basis. When will we go out of existence? When we see the thing on which we appear. We, as the Pratibhasika Satyam, will disappear. This entire universe, thus, is a Pratibhasika Satyam, and that includes all of us. If you see the real background, that is Brahman, the whole world, including ourselves, will be proved to be a monumental lie, a complete fabrication. That is why Acharya said that in day-to-day transactions, that is, in Vyavahara Dasa, it is true, and in Jnana Dasa, it will vanish as untrue. People without understanding this may come to fight on the grounds as to how you can call the world, which is seen to be subjected to the natural laws of cause and effect, a lie. We may avoid such misunderstandings if we explain as to how Acharya gave a name Mithya to things which alternate between truth and untruth depending upon changes in space, time, and perspective. How does one become many? People of other beliefs ask Advaitins with a tongue in cheek attitude. You say Aham Brahmasmi, Shivoham, by which you claim to be Brahman and Shivam, but you very much look like something else. Will you please explain this apparent contradiction? Though everything is Brahman, they all seem to be so many separate things, people and life forms. The Advaitin has to give an answer to this question. In Advaita Shastras, there are two types of answers available for this question. If God has to become us, there are two types. One, when the sun is bright, if you wet your hands and shake it vigorously, causing say 1,000 drops to scatter, you will see 1,000 suns, that is a sun in every drop. One sun becomes 1,000, thus the size is adjusted to suit the thing in which the sun's rays are reflected. Similarly, one Brahman or Arivu, that is knowledge, awareness, is shining in many life forms and creates a sense of variety. In reality, it is one knowledge, awareness, bliss. This argument is called Bimba Pratibimba Vadam. If you erase all the drops of water, there will be no reflections. It is in our minds that so many reflections occur, creating the sense of variety. They will go. The sun will still stand alone and shine in its effulgent glory. As always, when the generator moves in the powerhouse, electricity is created, which becomes light in the bulbs. If the generator stops, electricity stops, light fails. If the mind stops its vacillations, mind stops and reflections stop. These bits and pieces of Arivu will be seen to be one real sun. Another question arises as to when we compare Paramatma with the sun and Jivatma with the drops of water reflecting the sun rays. Looks like so many suns. Those drops of water, say, are dried and evaporated. Did they become the sun? In answer, there is another reasoning given by the Advaita Shastras known as Avachinnavadam. There is water in the well. We are dropping a pot tied to a rope in the well to fetch water. The pot is submerging while getting filled with water. There is no difference between the water in the well and water in the pot, but seems different from the time of being drawn from the well and as long as it is in the pot. One sky is everywhere. It has accommodated the entire universe in itself. This sky everywhere is called Mahakasham. If you keep a number of ghatam or pot, they also contain the sky inside them. It is called Ghatakasam. If the pot breaks, Ghatakasam does not break. What was seen as a separate Ghatakasam becomes one with the Akasham. On breaking of the pot, Ghatakasham became Mahakasham. Depending on the size and shape of the pot, differences happen. Exactly similarly, one Paramatma seems different as per the different minds. Depending on the bigness or smallness of the utensil, the content is big or small. Break the pot or utensil and the differences disappear. Similarly, it is the mind responsible for differences. Mind goes and differences go. This is Avachinnavadam. If the sun is seen in a drop of water, it does not mean that a new small sun has come into being. Nobody caught hold of another Akasham in the pot in place of the Mahakasham. The water in the pot was in no way different in the water in the well. So, Jivatma is and will be the same as Paramatma. He, the Jivatma, seems different only till our ignorance persists. Like the reflection of the sun, like the Mahakasham in a small pot, like the well water in a small utensil, it is the one being awareness, bliss or Satchit Anandam that is immanent in every iota of existence. What we call as Brahmam and Shivam is all the same. We say Shivoham and Aham Brahmasmi to remind ourselves of the unity in all the seeming diversity. Om Shri Mahaperiva Sharanam.